Good afternoon, good morning, and good day, and not necessarily in that order. Welcome to the Big Buppo Gaming and More channel. Gaming and more because, I'm out here doing shit. But anyways, here's my new series installment of something that I've been wanting to do for a little while here. I'm calling it Duelist Diaries. Now, what you guys are going to be able to expect from this series, or from what this is it's going to be a little bit of a commentary about Elden Ring as a whole, and, with gameplay in the background. So, the general idea is that I'm going to be, reviewing builds, reviewing playstyles, talking about stuff that's going on, potentially in the Elden Ring community. It's just going to be, my thoughts and feelings about the game. And the reason I'm starting off today with the Mage build, as you can see here on screen right now, with the drippiest of the drip, is because I was pleasantly surprised. I was genuinely pleasantly surprised. Now, I know I'm a little late to the game, a little bit late to the party when it comes to creating Elden Ring content, but I've been really trying to come up with a good idea and trying to figure out what I wanted to make on this channel, specific to Elden Ring. And I took my inspiration from channels like Chase the Bro, Scott Jund, Ouroboros, or Saints Riot. Saints Riot is a really good one for that too. You know, the lates, the greats, the ones who've been around for a long time. And yeah, my general idea behind this is it's very similar to the concept of narrated thought duels, where I'm going to be commentating on the different duels and different invasions potentially in the future that I'm going to be playing in the background of these videos. And I just want to acknowledge that that was probably my best use of this build. It is so disgustingly powerful, the amount of stuff you can do with this setup. I'm just going to say it right now. Carrion Slicer, busted, broken, silly, ridiculous. But it is what it is. Anyways, going back to what I was saying, I drew a lot of inspiration from all these different channels, but I still wanted to make this my own. So, anyways, the main point that I'm trying to make in regards to Mage builds is that, as you can see, Carrion Slicer is silly. It's busted. It's not foolproof. It's not foolproof. If I remember this duel correctly, this person's going to catch me, basically roll catch me to finish me off, I'm pretty sure. But, the playstyle can go from kiting and just, jumping away, rolling away, hitting them with small spells, to big spells to throw them off, right? But, you see, I almost turned it around. I almost turned it back. And this is what I mean. I have been pleasantly surprised by Mage builds in Elden Ring. And the reason why is because of how sheerly busted Carrion Slicer is. I played a lot of Dark Souls 3. I used to stream it a little bit on Twitch. And I used to just play it a lot in my free time before I even started live streaming, before I was ever even on Twitch. I played a lot of Dark Souls 3, and my favorite kind of build was just a simple Claymore, Longsword, Dark build, or Quality build. That was it. I did Dark builds and I did Quality builds. No spell casting, because I like the sheer force in which you could hit someone, especially with a Dark build. It was just busted. It was strong, and I enjoy that. I don't like one-shot builds, but I do like having a good build. You know what I mean? I like it that when I hit someone, they feel it. They take at least 300 to 400 damage, And the irony here is what you're seeing on screen right now, not even optimized. I have the Grave Mass Talisman on, and that's it. That's what's doing the damage. With the Carrion Glintstone staff, I think is what it's called. I forget. It doesn't matter. What matters is the staff that you see in my offhand is upping the power of Carrion Slicer plus the talisman that I have. But there are 2 talismans that you can stack to gain even more damage off of it. And on top of that, there's a Physic Flask that you can drink and gain even more damage. So I'm not even at the top tier amount of damage that I could do, because I felt like at that point it was just cheating. But this amount of damage that I have set up on this build right now, and it's not even 70 int, by the way. I'm pretty sure I'm at 60 int. The build isn't even fully optimized. You'll see it at the end of the video, but that's my point. And that's where I'm trying to get with this. I was a pure melee type build when I played all the Souls games, not just Dark Souls 3. That's the one where I did most of my PvP. That and Dark Souls 2, and like my gaming relationship when it comes to me and the Souls series. I loved PvP and I loved making melee builds, strength builds, quality builds. My first build was actually a dex build. Don't tell anybody. But anyways, my first build was a dex build. And I could never get into spellcasting because before, in the, I just want to comment also on this match here. Look at this. Look at this. Every time he pulls out that shield, you see me switch to melee. And then every time that shield is put away, I go back to range because this build is just so quick to counterplay. Like, and I'll get into that in a little bit. And you know, once I run out of things to talk about, I'm gonna start talking about like just to commentate on the general fights here, and that's probably what's it's gonna look like in the future. But right now, you know, we're gaining our bearings. It's episode 1. Yeah, I'm kind of getting a feel for this. I'm kind of dipping my toes in it a little bit. I don't even have a script. We're going absolutely raw in this, and this is what my commentary is gonna be like. It's gonna be all over the place. It's gonna be messy. It's gonna be gritty. It's gonna be raw, much like PvP in Elden Ring. Or at least what PvP used to be in Souls games. I don't know. I have comments. You guys are probably going to hear more about it in the coming videos. But anyways, back to Mage builds in the Souls series prior to Elden Ring. I always felt like they hit hard, sure, but it felt like boring gameplay to me because I always felt passive when doing it. I couldn't jump and get into someone's face and like really start whacking at them. Giggity, I guess. But anyways, yeah, I couldn't get into it because I always felt like I had to play passive to make the build work in the old Souls games. But in this, and yes, I am unapologetically using Starlight Shards because why not? I don't have a Physic Flask. That's my excuse for it. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, you'd have to play passive. Like, being a mage was spamming spells in the background. And Dark Souls 3 had one build that was neat, that felt a little bit more aggressive, the Heiselpick build, where you'd essentially have Great Sword and the what's the name of that? The Abyss, not the Abyss Watcher sword spell, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It was the Carrion Slicer of Dark Souls 3. I forget all the Fair and Flash Sword. There it is. I'm forgetting all the terms, but it doesn't matter. So you could kind of do a melee build, but like it didn't have the oomph, and I always ended up, whenever I try it, I always end up using my offhand weapon or my main weapon in hand instead of actually casting spells. But with this, in Elden Ring, it's different. Partly because they changed the PvP and now R1 no longer confirms into R1. So the game has become the L2 simulator. You know, I think everybody's aware of that, and that's fine. You know, it's a different game. It's a different style. And a lot of me is still getting used to it. A lot of me is still adapting to it. Trying to, you know, as you can see, like, this PvP isn't immaculate. It's not flawless. But, you know, we're working on it. We're learning the game. And, yeah, this was a surprise to me. Like, as you can see here, he's playing passive. No problem. I pressure him by spamming spells. He starts being aggressive. I start being aggressive back. Like, I can match the pace. And, it was too much for him to take. He couldn't finish the fight. So that's me taunting him a little bit there. Yes, I am a little toxic. Yes, I am a little cheesy. I don't give a fuck. You can be mad about it in the comments if you want. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. It's just a meme. It's just a meme. Sometimes I'm toxic just to be funny, but, you know, I'm not serious. I don't think we should take this game too seriously, because as you can see, it's L2 the game. You know, it just as my opponent is doing. No shame to him. He's actually playing pretty well. He's spacing me out real well. The Claymore is still Baymore, and that is something I love about this game. If they would have gutted my Claymore, I would have been so sad, because I love that weapon. And it still has its merit. It still has its merit, and it pairs pretty well with a lot of different Ashes of War. Oh, this laggy part. Oh my god. When this happened, I screamed. When this happened, I fucking screamed fighting this guy. I literally went, what the fuck? Like, I was losing my mind. I just clipped the mic like crazy. Doesn't matter. Yeah, so anyways, pleasantly surprised, because mage builds in this game help control the pace of the fight. Because R1 doesn't confirm into R1 anymore, the majority of players I've noticed is as soon as they take one hit, they'll roll away. And then the game becomes whiff punish. It's just pure whiff punishes. And I mean, a lot of fighting games are that. But, like, when there isn't combos, when there isn't, you know, one thing that goes into the other, except for, like, exceptions to the rule, right? There's specific builds that have different Ashes of War and different spells that combo into each other. Like, that I get. I think everyone understands that to a certain degree. And maybe that'll be a topic for a future video. But it's not like in Dark Souls 3 where an attack would guarantee confirm into another attack, and then it was a guessing game of, are they going to roll away? Are they going to try to parry a third hit? Are they going to block? Like, there was a bit more depth to the PvP, in my opinion, when it came to that. Because that was taken away, the style of PvP has fundamentally changed, in my opinion. And again, this series is just going to be purely my opinion. It's called Diaries for a reason. I'm just sharing personal thoughts, really, about how I feel about this game. And, yeah, I found that the Mage build, for the first time for me, I really enjoyed, because now I control the pace of the fight again. Now I decide, alright, you're getting aggressive? Okay, cool. I'll be aggressive back. I'm hitting you with Carrion Slicer. Oh, you don't like that? You're running away? Like what's happening here? Cool, I'll start spamming spells. You bring out your parry tool, I'll start attacking you again. I don't think he expected that parry. Shit, neither did I, but I'm glad he didn't land it. But that's the thing, like, you start getting in close, I can fight up close. You start trying to get far away, I start spamming spells from far away. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to keep applying pressure. I like playing aggressively. And in a game where the meta has become whiff punishes, that's not great for me. That's not what works for me. But with this Mage build, I don't have to worry about that, because you can't whiff punish me from a mile away unless you have a mile away spell to counter back. And a lot of people don't. And maybe this is going to shape the meta. Maybe this is going to change things, because I remember watching an Elden Ring PvP tournament where the tournament winner was running a very similar build to this. This is what made me want to try it. And yeah, what I'm not utilizing enough in these fights, as you may have observed. Oh, fuck. Stop the press. Stop talking, Buppo. This is the hard counter to this build. You see what this guy's doing? High poise and quick step with a rapier. I can't roll away fast enough because I'm not light rolling, but even if I was, that closes the gap, that closes the distance, and it comes out much faster than what I can do. So if ever you're up against a player who's playing like me as a mage, I think that is a hard counter to it. Just a quick step poke weapon, probably a rapier or maybe an S-Talk if you want that extra range. And I'm pretty sure it'll beat out whatever that mage has. I didn't like what this person was doing there. I didn't know what buffs they stacked. It made me nervous, so I figured, you know what? Let's start fresh. Law of regression. I'll sacrifice my buffs for yours. It felt fair at that point. Also, that was fun too. I think the shield bash might be a good counter to this build as well. And that's another thing too. Like, I take mental notes for when I do something and someone counters me with something else. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna add that to one of my builds, or I take mental note of it because I'm like, that could get me out of a sticky situation, you know. Also, that twin glintstone pebble with the I love the distance that you get off of Carrion Piercer. Oh lord, that is like longer than a lance. I love that. Anyways, yeah, that twin glintstone spell, it comes out really slow. And then the Star Shower just comes out at a different speed. So again, it's this build. This Mage builds in Elden Ring are something else. They're so much better than what they used to be. There's so much more to it. Also, yeah, I did not let this guy use Seppuku because I am rude to bleed users. I do not respect bleed users. If you're choosing to use Seppuku, I will attack you right away. I do not care. And, alright, so this guy started healing, and that's when I was like, oh, we're healing now? Alright, no problem. No problem. I can heal too, no stress. Not that I need to right now. But, yeah, I want to acknowledge this fight as well, because this guy was like, he didn't know what to do. He did not know what to do against this build. And, you know, as soon as I saw him heal, I'm like, oh, here we are. All right, no respect. No respect. No respect for the craft. No respect for the etiquette that is dueling. But you know what? That's fine. It's fine. You want to play like that? No stress, no worries. I can heal too. I can also eat blood boluses. You're not going to get a bleed off me. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And, yeah, I think this is how that... This is how that fight ended. I just spammed Karen Piercer, and we gave him the point down just because he healed during a duel. We do have a rematch later, and it's a lot more respectful, so a little bit of spoilers ahead, but, you know, it's a good time. It's a good time. But yeah, the mage builds... The mage build, or the magic casting in Elden Ring, I find now is really good for controlling the pace of a fight. I did try faith builds along my time playing this game, and I don't have any recorded footage of that yet, but I've tried, you know, faith builds, and they were just not as fun. And in every other Souls game, I always preferred the faith builds over mage and, like, magic builds. Unless it was, like, a magic melee build, I do like pouring stats into something that gives a different type of damage output. So then people are surprised when their armor resistances don't necessarily stack up, and until they see the damage being taken and the type of damage that they're being hit with. But yeah, I liked making builds like that, but I didn't like spellcasting as much. But in this, God, man, oh man. And I apologize if I'm being a little redundant. That is just the way I speak, all right? But hey, either way, I feel like there is a lot to say about this game, and there's a lot going on with Elden Ring, and with all the future updates and patches that are going to be coming in, we do not know what the future may hold. But what I do know is that despite all of its issues, despite all of the problems that the community has with Elden Ring, whether one thing's overpowered or broken or not, I still think it's a good game. I still think it's a good game. I'd rather be playing this than anything else right now. And don't get me wrong, there are other great games that are out and about right now that have been released. You know, there's the new Zelda coming out. That looks pretty cool. New God of War, that looks pretty dope as well. But if you told me that I'd have to stop playing Elden Ring to play those, I'd just keep playing Elden Ring. Straight up. I love this game. I love this game. I love the Soul series as a whole. And I'm excited to see what the DLC is going to be like. I'm excited to see what the next patches and updates are going to be like. I think that it would be interesting to see them implement the same mechanics as Dark Souls 3. You know, R1 into R1. That might really be the biggest game changer if they ever do that. But that's just me being wishful. That's just me absolutely huffing copium. Because that is something I'm going to sorely miss. And I hope that if they do another game, whether it be an Elden Ring 2 or an entirely different series, they go back to what they had in the Dark Souls 3 PvP formula. Another thing that I miss as well is just in invasions. I genuinely miss having co-invaders. It's so rare to have co-invaders in this game just because of the way that the invasion system works. And that slots are pretty much just 4 players at once, completely prioritized by co-op phantoms. It's like, oh, that's going to be sorely missed. And the lag in this game as well is pretty rough, as you just saw in this fight. That latency was gross. My man died like a literal 10 seconds before he was actually dead. That was insane. I was like, all my hits landed. He should be dead. And then, not surprisingly, a minute later, he dies. So I'm like, okay, cool. Again, the hard counter. Here it is. So in case you guys were wondering, Buppo, you know, how do we beat you? Well, just like that, like that. I mean, I haven't even won every match either. But it doesn't matter. Yeah. Mage builds. They slap. They're good. I like them. This fight went a lot better. I started getting the download on this guy's playstyle, and I figured, okay, I need to be a little bit more patient. But I think the biggest mistake against him that I was making here is I was trying to get distance on him when I should have been just rolling counterattack, rolling counterattack. I try to reset there, and you know, I get punished hard for it. And that's another thing about Elden Ring PvP. It's very much one mistake can cost you a whole match because everything does a million damage. But that's that. Anyways, closing statements, because this is the final duel of the night. Funny enough, it's the first guy we saw in the video, first guy we fought. That's why he collapsed there, because he knows what's coming. He knows what to expect, and this fight's going to be no different, unfortunately. But I do like his use of the pots. I do like his build. I like the lightning builds. I like the dex builds. I feel like, yeah, there's so much I still want to try with this game. There's so much I still want to do. And there's so much I want to show you guys. And there are other opinions I want to share regarding this. So, if you guys have ideas for the types of builds and the types of content that you guys want to see, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe as well. I am completely new to making videos like this and making content like this. There's still a lot I have to learn. There's still a lot I want to do. And there's so much I want to learn about this PvP as well. You know what I mean? Like, I've been playing Souls games for a while, but I feel like Elden Ring's the one I've kind of been struggling with the most with the PvP. But I'm still very, very much enjoying it. I'm still having a great time. And yeah, I really, really hope to make more videos for you guys in the future. And I'm very open to suggestions to what you guys are going to want to see. But that's it. That's it, guys. That is our first episode of the Duelist Diaries. More to come. More to come in the future. And other content as well on the channel. Not just Elden Ring. We do a variety as well. And as promised, here is the build. Here are the talismans and armor that I use, as well as the stats up on screen right now. All right. Have a good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Subscribe to Big Buppo's YouTube. You must. Or tickle your toes. I will.